Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I have something new for you guys to enjoy. What if Naruto was Shisui's brother with the yellow Sharingan? Yes. So Naruto will be a Uchiha with a very special pair of Sharingan that no other Uchiha in history has ever seen or awakened before. So expect a lot. And if you're new, remember to go ahead and comment down below and tell me so I can welcome you guys personally. And also, I indeed have 3 more channels that I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All the links will be down in the description. It can be a bit overwhelming, so go ahead and turn on the bell notification to see when I post. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out What If Naruto Was the First Osusuke to ever exist over on Anime King 2, and enjoy that guys. So without further ado or wasting any more time, how about we jump right into this? Let us begin now guys. We begin this new episode in one of the Uchiha's training field. A young boy was standing there. His eyes were closed. 4 kunais was in his hand, 2 in each. As he was feeling the gentle wind blew by. That is when he suddenly ducked, dodging the strike of the individual that tried to hit him. He spun, moving himself into a flipping motion, lashing his leg out as he stabbed the kunais in the ground, holding on to them like an anchor. However, the person easily blocked his leg and knocked it aside. But he was ready for this as he ripped the 2 kunais out of the ground with his right hand and threw them. His body momentum of the person hitting his leg allowed him to add more force. Immediately though, the one that he was fighting blinked away. But he did not stop there as he ripped the other 2 out. Using his left hand, he turned and launched them. As he pulled another kunai out and launched it right in the center with more force. It slammed right in the center of the other 2, making them split apart. One going to right and one going to the left. And the one that he threw in the center was still flipping in the air after ricocheting the others away. As he reached for another kunai and jumped up in the air, he then threw it. It slammed against the one that was still ricocheting as the both of them spiraled in the opposite direction. He then spun around and threw his fist. However, it was caught. His arm was easily knocked aside before the person punched him right in the gut, causing him to fall over on the ground. "Ow," he said, holding on to his stomach. The person that stood, looking down at him, chuckled slightly. "I must give you props on that one. Making sure to cover all your bases, so I wouldn't be able to teleport to either of those spots, and then turning, knowing, and predicting my moves. I have to say, I'm impressed." The person that was standing there was known as Shisui Uchiha, otherwise known as the teleporter of Konoha, mastering the sunshine to a degree to make him a very deadly individual on the battlefield against any opponent. But it wasn't just that though. He possessed rather special eyes. His Sharingan was amongst the highest within the clan. Lying on the ground still holding his stomach was his younger brother. His name was Naruto Uchiha. Unlike Shisui, who possessed short hair, Naruto had longer hair that was spiky. As it spiked downwards, it came to his shoulder. His left eye was blocked because of the hair striking down his face into a bang and curving to the side. "Did you really have to hit me so hard?" Naruto asks, "Come on now, I barely hit you. And besides, if you're going to be a ninja someday, you're gonna have to learn to take hits." "Not really," said Naruto, pulling himself up. "I mean, you're one of the fastest people I know, and I can't touch you. So if I become fast enough, that means no one will be able to ever touch me." Naruto said with a proud smile, causing Shisui to rest a hand on his head. "I like your motivation, but don't get too cocky now. Us ninjas have to ground ourselves to make sure that we don't do anything stupid or reckless. But I'm sure I don't have to tell you that for what seemed to be the 1,000th time." "You mean another boring speech?" Naruto whispered under his breath. "What was that?" Shisui said. "Nothing," he said, chuckling slightly. He and his older brother shared the same attitude, as both of them were fun to be around in rather peaceful situations. They were humorful, yes. Just like his older brother, people was already seeing Naruto as a prodigy, as he was able to perform the Uchiha birthright technique for breathing the fireball when he was just 5 years old. Yes, as Naruto had the potential to be a splendid Uchiha, he was born with an abnormal amount of chakra for a child. And as he grew, that chakra grew as well. However, that meant that he had to focus on chakra control. He's been doing it for a long time now. Naruto never knew his parents. His mother died during childbirth, and their father died before that, in the war, as Shisui was the one that raised him, along with other members of the clan, of course, as they stepped in to help whenever Shisui needed someone to babysit or something like that. Shisui was always grateful to all of them, and it shows. As the both of them were heading back, Shisui noticed the look on Naruto's face. "Hey, what's wrong?" he said. "Oh, it's nothing," said Naruto. "Come on now, you know you can tell me anything." "Alright, fine," said Naruto. "I'm just worried, that's all." A smile came on Shisui's face. "Come on now, don't tell me that you're worried about what we're gonna eat tonight." "That's not it," said Naruto. Well, I saw a few Uchiha police arresting a citizen of the village, and I heard some things." Shisui's face turned a bit sad. "What did you hear?" "Well, they were saying that the Uchiha police were bad, and that the Uchihas were the problem. But I don't understand. The police, they're just trying to help, right? They're just trying to be a symbol of peace and justice for the village. And that guy was doing something bad. They wouldn't just arrest him for no reason. No, they would not. You and I both know that the Uchiha police are just trying to help the village. Then why? Why did they say those things?" "Things between the Uchihas and the village are tight right now. There's a lot of tension brewing." "Why?" said Naruto. "Multiple reasons. However, coming together as a clan is what we need to do in order to sort out all of these problems. Don't worry or put it on your head. After all, I'm the one that should be worrying. I'm your big brother, and a rather prominent member of the clan, if I'm not mistaken," he said, having a little smile on his face as he said that, cheering Naruto up. "So if there's any problem or things are straying away too far, I'll step in and fix it." "Oh, Mr. Fixer," said Naruto, who can't even fix a door. "What was that?" Shisui said, as Naruto took off running, the older brother chasing after his younger brother. However, he knew in his mind that tensions were raising and things were getting bad, and even the younger generations were now noticing that. Time skip. The two 7-year-old boys were making their way, heading towards the academy. Sasuke Uchiha glanced over towards Naruto Uchiha, a confused look on his face. Naruto was a rather talkative one, and yet he was quiet today. Really quiet. Sasuke had to ask. He was curious. "What's wrong?" he said, as Naruto did not hear him at first. "Hey, did you hear me?" Sasuke said, as Naruto snapped out of his trance. Oh, what were you saying? I said what's wrong. Oh, it's nothing really, said Naruto. But have you noticed? Tensions between the village and our clan has been rising, said Naruto. I talked to my brother about this a couple weeks ago, and he said that everything was going to be fine, but things seem to be getting worse. Come to think about it, I have seen what you're talking about. Maybe they're just jealous, Sasuke said. I mean, we are the greatest clan in the village. Maybe they're just jealous of us and our members. I don't think it is that, said Naruto, and even if it is, it's not all just that. It's not like they can't sort it out, Sasuke said. I bet in a couple of weeks, all of this will be taken care of. You're probably right. My brother did say that everything was going to be fine. And even if it was not, they were going to handle it. If anyone's going to handle anything, it's going to be Itachi. Really? This again, said Naruto. Yeah, this again. You seem to have got it in your head that Shisui is better than my brother, Sasuke said. Because he is. In what world, Sasuke said, causing the two boys to argue back in front. Time skip. When Naruto got home that night, he was confused. His brother was supposed to be back from his mission today. However, he was not home. He figured that he might be home tomorrow or late in the night. He did not pay it any mind. Maybe, if he was younger, he would be worrying about his brother's safety out there. Not that he does not, but he was confident in his big brother's strength to know that he could handle himself. Unfortunately for Naruto, at that very moment, Shisui Uchiha sat in a tree. One of his eyes were closed, with blood running down his cheek. The eye wasn't just closed, it wasn't there anymore, as the other one was writing a note. Once he finished with that one, he put it aside. As the second one, he looked at it. He gazed up towards the heavens. He didn't have enough time. As he looked at the moon, things had gone bad so quickly. He promised Naruto that he would take care of it, but he wasn't able to. As he released a breath, Shisui had struggled with a lot for many years. The reason on how he awakened his Mangekyo Sharingan, it was one of his very close friends. Yes, one of his very close friends. He was jealous that the person had surpassed him. He allowed envy to cloud his judgment, and he made a mistake. He withheld aid in a rather crucial situation, and his friend passed away. He always blamed himself for that death. That is what triggered his eyes, and his Mangekyo was brought into the light. He made himself a vow that day that he would never succumb to those feelings ever again. His devotion was so strong for his clan and for his actions that Shisui never fell for the curse of hatred that the clan members suffer from. He never fell for it, but he knew that it was strong within his clan. And if Naruto were to find out about this, to find out the real reason, he knew that his younger brother could become triggered by that hatred. It would drown him. Shisui would never want that happy personality to ever leave him, despite how chaotic the world truly was. So he took another deep breath, as he was going to spear him away from all of this. But in doing so, he had to lie about everything. As he started to write this one for Naruto. Yes, he started to write it. Time skip. Shisui stood on the ravine edge. Both of his eyes were closed now, as Itachi reached out and tried to stop him. Goodbye, my friend, and take care of my brother. That was his final words as he fell, making sure that his body would never be used against his clan or his village ever again. As Itachi stood there, tears in his eyes, and it triggered his body to react that special chakra flooding his brain, moving down toward his eye receptors. And they change into another powerful set of eyes. The Mangekyo Sharingan. Time skip. Naruto was rubbing his eyes as he heard someone knocking on his door. Making his way. Why would his brother be knocking on the door? He thought with a confused look. Arriving, he saw two Uchihas standing there, members of the police force. "Good morning," he said, greeting them with proper respect. "Morning, Naruto." The one on the right said, "I'm sorry, but we came with bad news." Naruto immediately felt his heart rate increasing. Given the fact that Shisui was not here, he started to worry. "Where's my big brother?" he said. That was the first thing that came out. And he saw the look in their eyes. "Where is he?" said Naruto, stepping past them, looking around. "Where is he?" he asked once again, as he saw the look of remorse in their eyes. "Why isn't anyone saying anything? Where is he?" he shouted out. As the day went by, Naruto felt hollow and empty. Many people saying their condolences. However, he barely heard them. He barely saw them. He felt so empty, so broken. Even through the funeral, there wasn't even anybody. As Naruto felt so hollow, empty, nothing at all. His mind was foggy. His eyes kept on feeling this stinging sensation as he kept on rubbing them over and over. Everything felt like it drained him. Mikoto came by and brought him something to eat. Knowing that he wouldn't have the effort, she also stayed as well. She was concerned about his mental health. Shisui was all the family that he knew, aside from the others that helped him, but Shisui was his brother, his blood. And Mikoto was worried for his health, mentally, as Naruto had been quiet, not even saying a word. He barely eat anything. She basically had to force him to eat something, to make sure that he did not suffer physically. Naruto sat by his window. His mind was blank and empty. The only thing that he remembered was they say that his brother committed suicide. His brother, Shisui Uchiha. That was just rather pathetic to even say. That is when he noticed something as it caught his vision. A crow landed right on the windowsill. He noticed a note attached to the crow's leg. As Naruto pushed it aside, not caring if this was some trap or something like that, he simply took it. As his eyes swept over it, it was from his brother. As Naruto read the words, they engraved into his mind. Shisui was apologizing for committing suicide. He wrote that he never forgave himself for what he did to acquire the Mangekyo Sharingan. In the letter, he basically confessed to allowing the murder of a great friend of his. Because of his jealousy, his envy, the letter was filled with apologies. However, Naruto ripped it apart. He tore it apart without a hesitation, as his sadness quickly turned to anger. Tears running down his cheek. He did not notice that in that very moment his eyes took a drastic change. A change that would upset the balance of this world forever. Time skip. 2 weeks went by, as we now find Naruto lying on his bed. It was late in the night, however he could not sleep. He hasn't been able to for some time now, barely getting a couple of hours of sleep at night. Sasuke had been by on more than one occasion to try and cheer him up. But how do you cheer up someone after they lost the person that meant everything to them? Multiple of the girls in his class had asked about him. Sasuke had told them that he lost his brother, not giving a reason on how Shisui died. On Naruto's night table was multiple gift baskets and multiple letters. Some of the parents were just greedy. If their child was to fall for Naruto and Naruto doing the same for them, they will be a part of the strongest and most prestigious clan within the village, the Uchiha clan, despite the backlash that the Uchihas were currently facing. However, that wasn't on Naruto's mind right now. What was on his mind was who did this to his brother. Naruto had tore that letter up. It might seem like Shisui's handwriting. However, he refused to believe it. It doesn't matter what, Shisui would never do this to him. His brother would never leave him alone like this. He would never do this to himself and to him either. He loved him too much. He refused to believe this. Someone was behind this. He hasn't interacted much with the other Uchihas, or has he been outside a lot. However, as he looked at the moon shining down on the village, he decided to take a midnight stroll. As he feels so clamped up, so stuffed up in here. As Naruto dressed himself and made his way. The night was rather cold. However, the moment he got away from his house, he smelled something. It was strong and pungent in the air. He knew that smell. It was blood. Quickly moving towards the house nearby, Naruto was shocked when he saw the door broken down. Rushing towards it, Naruto froze as he saw the body of a woman lying on the ground, with her husband not too far behind. His eyes widened as he stepped out, rushing to get some help when he noticed blood stain on the other house. Naruto ran down. As he ran straight, noticing all the marks, all the sign of attacks. That is when he noticed someone ahead, arriving. Naruto saw Sasuke collapsing out of exhaustion. Before he did, Naruto saw the Sharingan in his eyes. That is when he saw Itachi standing on the roof, his sword with blood on it. Itachi heard the person calling out towards him as he turned. He was going to pay Naruto a visit, but not to kill him though. As he turned, holding his blade in his hand, as he gazed down towards Naruto. Itachi, what's going on? Who is doing this? Naruto said, looking around fearful. Isn't it obvious? Naruto felt his breath stop as he looked up towards those cold eyes. The pattern was not the normal Sharingan. What? What? Naruto could not say the words. His body felt afraid and stunned. You're wondering why? Just like my foolish little brother over there. Well, it's simple. To test my capabilities. What? This must be some sort of dream, said Naruto. This can't be real. I'm afraid that this is a reality that you live in. No dream, no illusion. I did this to test the capability of my eyes. Your brother must have told you on how he awakened his Mangekyo. So I decided to do the same. That and above. Itachi said, You wouldn't. Everyone. I took them all down, as you can see. I was coming to pay you a visit next, but you came to me instead, Itachi said. I'm going to put an end to your life right here and now, just like I did to your brother. The whole world seemed to freeze around Naruto. As the word slipped out of his mouth, quietly. What? You heard me. Shisui would have gotten in my way, so I made sure to take him out first. No, you wouldn't. Wouldn't I? No, you wouldn't. You looked up to him just like I did. You would never do something like that. You're lying. Who are you lying for? Said Naruto. You foolish, naive boy. I was the one that killed your brother, and make it seem like a suicide. I struck him down because he trusted me, believing that I would never do something like that. Because you were right, a fight between the both of us head on, I would lose. So I struck him down behind his back. As I watched the light fade away from his eyes, he was so surprised, so shocked. I am the one that took away your last living relative, the person that meant everything to you. Itachi stood there, concealing all of his emotions. As Naruto slowly looked up, Itachi was shocked to what he saw. It was Naruto's eyes. They were different. Usually, the pupil was red. However, Naruto's pupil was black, pitch black, and inside of it was 2 yellow tomo in each. Itachi has never seen Sharingan like that before. He was confused. However, what more so confused him was when he saw what was happening to Naruto's body. Every ounce of his chakra was being pushed to the forefront, and it was expanding in a rapid rate. It went to his legs, his arms, his chest, his stomach, reinforcing his body on its own. Itachi was confused and surprised as Naruto spoke. "I'm gonna kill you." He jumped, breaking the ground as he did. Itachi had to move back as Naruto's feet crashed down on the roof. His hand lashed out to grab Itachi. Itachi slapped it away, but Naruto turned and lashed out with a kick. The kick missed, but Itachi felt an unusual force whip past him as Naruto's body started to glow. Slowly at first, but when Itachi imagined chakra, and when his eyes saw chakra, it was supposed to be blue. However, Naruto's chakra was yellow. He dug himself in the roof before pushing off, ripping off the tiles as he jumped. Itachi moved as Naruto's fists cracked through the tiles. He grabbed several of them as he launched them like shurikens. They were so fast. Itachi used his blade to deflect several, as one aimed right toward his skull. He ducked. That is when he saw Naruto's fists coming to give him an uppercut. However, he tilted his head and grabbed Naruto's fists. He lifted the child off his feet and twirled him around and threw him. Naruto crashed right into the side of a building. His chakra was growing and expanding too much, alerting everyone. Itachi landed in front of him and looked directly into his eyes, trying to put him under his control. To his shock though, for a few seconds, Naruto was trying to get up until he finally succumbed to Itachi Mangekyo. As the child collapsed under an illusion, Itachi stood there, a shocked look still on his face, not understanding what was those. However, he shouldn't be surprised. If anyone was to be special, it would be the brother of his best friend. He released a heavy breath as he disappeared into the night. Later, the 2 boys were found by the Anvus, Hiruzen, having them rushed to the hospital as quickly as possible. Time skip. The nurse was slowly reaching down to fix the covers that covered the boy, when suddenly his hand lashed out and gripped her wrist, his leg lashing out and wrapping around the back of her neck and pulling her towards him. As he started to choke the living hell out of her, the woman struggling to get free. As the boy's eyes finally realized what he was doing, he quickly released her as she fell over, dropping the clipboard, coughing as she did. Naruto looked around, his gaze sweeping over the entire hospital room as he noticed the monitors. That is when 2 doctors rushed inside, seeing what was going on, as they raised their hand for him to calm down. Time skip. The Hokage came to speak to him on what had happened. Naruto was unresponsive at first. It turns out that he was asleep for 1 week. Yes, it said that his chakra coils were severely burnt out. like his chakra was being forcefully ripped out of his body. His coils had expanded to levels that the reserve of chakra that he possessed wasn't able to fill, and left him in a bad condition for 1 week. Time skip. Sasuke Uchiha had been out of the hospital after a few days, so it hadn't been that long. At the moment he stood within the Uchiha residence, gazing over the stream that cut through the land. His eyes focused on the water. He heard footsteps, but he didn't bother to turn, believing that it was probably the Hokage or someone that wanted him to speak to the Hokage. The man had even gotten him an apartment away from this place, but he found himself coming here and just sitting down. However, he never expected for the person to grab him by his shirt and lift him off the ground, despite being on the same height. As furious, dark eyes seemed to stare into his very soul. "What do you know?" "What?" Sasuke said. "I'm gonna only ask you this once. What do you know?" Sasuke slapped the hands away. "I don't know anything," he said. "Then why? Why did he spare your life? Out of everyone else, why did he spare you?" Sasuke clenched his fists. "You're also alive." "Yeah, that's right. But he was going to kill me. I believe that my fight with him caused others to start to investigate, and you ran away. He said that he was coming to kill me next, but he had no intention to end your life. He knocked you out. Tell me, what do you know? Why did he do this? Why did he kill my brother?" What? Sasuke said, confused. "He told me that he was the one that killed Shisui and planted this suicide bullshit. So I'm gonna ask you once again, what do you know?" As Naruto's Sharingan subconsciously activated, I don't know anything." Naruto ran and grabbed Sasuke and punched him across the face. Sasuke crashed on the ground as Naruto landed on top of him, his fist clenched. "What do you know? You have to know something. Why he did all of this. Itachi wasn't a psychotic monster that enjoyed killing. There is no reason, there is no way for him to do this." Naruto gripped him by the shirt. "So there has to be something, some sort of explanation to get me to sleep, to understand why did this happen to us. Why did we lose everything? So tell me something," said Naruto. "You have to know something. What happened? What caused this? You have to know something." Naruto said, trembling. "I don't." Naruto drove his fist down as it slammed right at the side of Sasuke's head. He did not punch him, he punched the ground. As Naruto simply fell over, lying on his back, tears running down the side of his face. Sasuke lay there on the ground. He was surprised by Naruto's eyes, but this was not the time. The both of them lie there for minutes, as it turned into hours. 2 hours of complete silence, neither of them saying a single word to one another, as they watched, as the sky was getting darker and darker. As Naruto finally pulled himself up, "I'm gonna find Itachi. In order to do so, I have to be stronger. When I do find him, I'm gonna beat the answer out of him to why he did all of this. And I won't stop until he tells me. But even after he does, this is not something I can ever forgive. I'm gonna kill him," said Naruto. No hesitation in his tone. "I want to know right here and now. Are you going to stand in my way of killing him?" Sasuke slowly rose up. "You're gonna have to beat me to the punch, because I'm going to be the one that killed him first. He killed our parents, and I intend to make him suffer for that." "Well, I guess we have a common interest," said Naruto. "We can use that to get stronger." With that, Naruto started to walk away. Sasuke had wonder The thought had drifted into his mind why the Hokage had gave him a place so large, as it was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom place. And now he understood why, as Naruto things were moved in. However, neither of them had a problem with that. They were trying to act tough. Yes, the both of them were trying to act like every single moment was an agony. So it was really good for them to have each other right now. The both of them being pure-blooded Uchihas. It was truly good for them to have each other. Time skip. Returning back to the academy was something they had to do because they needed to become ninjas. The moment they got back there though, it seems like the teacher had told them not to bombard them with questions or to hassle them much. But as soon as lunchtime came, all of them were so apologetic, mostly the girls. However, it started to get on Naruto's nerves. It showed just how much this event had changed him. He was always the one that was showing support. He was always the kind one, the friendly one. But now, it was angering him when people were showing him pity. He didn't like it one bit. Not at all. As Sasuke was the same as well. However, the boys started to get locked into a routine in order to be able to face their upcoming threat. At the moment, Sasuke ducked as he pulled himself back. It was awkward to do while ducking, but he had to, as Naruto fist passed the area where his face once was. I saw your eyes. You already awakened them. Show them to me, said Naruto. Sasuke backpedaled as he had to go on the offensive as he attacked. However, Naruto blocked his fists before he swept Sasuke's legs right from underneath him. He then proceeded to sink his feet in the Uchiha's stomach. Sasuke rolled on the ground in pain. When he opened his eyes, he had to move as Naruto's feet stomped where his head once was. Quickly getting back up, Sasuke was breathing heavily and exhausted as he had lots of marks all over him. What's wrong with you? Said Naruto. I saw them with my eyes. You awakened the Sharingan. I don't remember, Sasuke said. That night, it was... Don't give me excuses, Naruto said. You said you wanted to do something, and if you're going to do that, you're going to need your Sharingan. Now, Naruto activate his. He rushed towards Sasuke. As he threw his fist, Sasuke ducked underneath it. However, Naruto followed up with a brutal gut punch. He took everything away from us. He killed your mom. He killed your dad. He forced you to witness that over and over again. How could you live knowing that that monster is still out there after what he did? Probably living his life without a care in the world, and you're here wallowing in misery. You have the chance to get revenge for all that he did, but you need to open your damn eyes. Naruto swung once again, but this time Sasuke ducked. Before, he slammed his heel in the ground as he brought his other foot around and slammed it into the side of Naruto's face. Naruto crashed hard into the ground. As he picked himself up, Sasuke followed with a brutal kick to the chin as Naruto crashed on his back. Sasuke came down as he punched right where Naruto once was, but Naruto already moved. Naruto rubbed his chin and the side of his face. As he spat, his mouth had been busted. However, looking at Sasuke, it was worth it. Clenching his fist angrily was Sasuke. His left eye was showing one totem, while his right was showing two. As gold met red. Now that you have them, I don't have to hold back that much. Naruto sped towards Sasuke. I can see him, Sasuke thought. However, seeing and acting was two different things. Sasuke tried to block, but Naruto's fist crashed in his gut. Naruto did not let him fly as he grabbed his hand and spun him before releasing him. Naruto slipped right past Sasuke. He delivered 3 brutal punches before following up with a brutal uppercut. Sasuke was dizzy by this point, as Naruto jumped upwards and crashed his heel on Sasuke's shoulder. Sasuke crashed into the ground, battered and bruised. His activating Sharingan deactivated as he was in pain. Naruto stood there, breathing a bit heavy. This is still nothing compared to that monster. Even though I hate him, he's just a little bit behind my brother. And who knows, with those eyes that he now possesses, he's going to become a true monster in battle. And our measly, worthless strength is not going to stand a chance against him. Not at all. Time skip. Naruto lie in bed. He couldn't remember the last time that he smiled, that he made a joke with someone, as he found himself shifting into a more darker mood every single time. The festering anger inside of him felt like it was going to explode sometimes, as he felt true and utter hate for Itachi. He wanted to make him suffer. He wanted to make him writhe in agony and pain for what he did. He took everything away from him, not just him but Sasuke as well. And he deserved to pay for that. He deserved to suffer for that. He deserved to die for that. As Naruto released a breath, calming himself down. The Hokage assessment on what happened to his body was correct, as he realized it as well. He could see it with his eyes. Whenever he activated Sharingan, his body reacted in a strange way. The chakra that was in his body started to expand. Even now, he had double the amount of chakra that he once had. It seems that the first awakening expanded his coils, and his chakra took a long while to catch up. That is why he was unconscious for an entire week. But now, it seems that the sheer power and weight of his chakra was being forcefully dragged out of his body in order to empower it, to make it stronger. That was good, but he needed to make sure that he had control over this. Otherwise, he could rupture his coils and rupture his insides with his own chakra. So the problem was not his Sharingan, but proper chakra control. And that was something that he had to work on. Time skip. I'm afraid I won't be able to hand those over to you. Why not? Naruto said, standing off against the Hokage, as the both of them were looking at one another. Hiruzen had not wanted Naruto or Sasuke to venture within the compound, as he wanted to keep things shut down, knowing that it would bring back bad memories for the boys. However, he had to remove certain things. Given the hate that they were feeling right now, the anger, that anger would lead them to do something stupid. Something like trying to learn more dangerous jutsus in order to get revenge on Itachi. Hiruzen couldn't allow that. They could get themselves killed. So he had all of the Uchiha scrolls removed. Yes, he had all of them removed in order to protect the boys. He had to. However, right now Naruto was demanding them back, and Hiruzen couldn't allow that. I wouldn't be a proper Hokage if I allowed you two to handle something that dangerous, Hiruzen said, looking towards Naruto. But they're ours, said Naruto. We're the last two Uchiha in the village, so they're rightfully ours. Yes, I know that. However, I won't give them to you until you graduated and I see that you're ready to learn these dangerous techniques. I won't allow you two to harm yourself because of the anger that you're both feeling right now. Hiruzen saw the look in Naruto's eyes. However, it vanished a moment later. The child had nothing more to discuss or talk to him with. Hiruzen was worried about the both of them. Naruto was always a fun-loving child. Yes, as Hiruzen had taken a focus on his character in the past. Brother of a very talented Uchiha. Most say that He had what it takes to even outshine his brother as well. However, all of that personality had changed just like that. One tragic moment had changed everything about the boy. Hiruzen had the both of them going to Inoichi to try and make them understand the emotions that they were feeling, but Inoichi said that they were not opening up. And even when they spoke up, it was not to speak about anything revolving around their feelings. However, he could give an estimate on what he understood. How bad this has affected both boys. This wasn't something that could be fixed overnight. This would take years of therapy, years upon years upon years. As the boys had been damaged, not only physically, because of their own efforts, but greatly mentally. Greatly mentally. So yes, it was bad. Greatly so. Time skip. Naruto was pissed off that the Hokage would not hand over the scrolls. He was very upset that the man would not hand over what was rightfully theirs. The little that they knew would not help them, so they had to go to the academy. There was nothing there that they could learn. The academy was a waste of time in Naruto's opinion. That is all that it was, a waste of time. It wasn't teaching them anything. It wasn't doing anything at all. It was just a huge waste of time. And there was nothing that he could do about it because he didn't have the power to do anything about it. And that angered him. He felt useless. Just like how he felt on Itachi escaping. And every time that thought came back in his mind, he felt so angry, as he felt himself getting consumed by his rage. It kept on grabbing onto him and holding him. And it seems like it was going to swallow him whole. Naruto sat by himself, his mind going over several things. All of this revolved around him getting stronger. When he heard something, as someone sat down next to him, it was a girl. Her name was Mito Uzumaki. She was his classmate, and actually she was a friend as well. Unlike all of the girls in the class, Mito was different. Yes, Mito did not act like them. She wasn't crushing over him. It seems like even with him, stop being friendly and taking their feelings into consideration, they like him more, which was really odd and confusing. But Mito wasn't like that though. Mito was a troublemaker who always pulled pranks, even on him as well. She had been supportive through all of this, not overstepping. She was an orphan. She understood what it felt like to have nothing and no one. As she understood that sometimes people needed space. Even though she could be an earhead sometime and really annoying, she understood when it comes to being alone. Hey, you okay? She asks. It has been some time since the event, but Naruto has been different ever since. Yeah, I'm fine, he said, as he leaned back on his hands. Seems like I'm making a few people rather upset, she said, with a cheeky smile on her face, as Naruto glanced over when he noticed the fangirls, as they seemed to be upset that she was talking to him. Let them be, said Naruto. They're really annoying anyway. Wow, never thought I would hear you of all people saying that about your fans. You mean the annoying girls that can't understand the word "leave me alone"? Naruto said. Yeah, it seems like the more that you push them away, the more they seem to be obsessed with you. Maybe they're not right in the head, Mito said. Yeah, maybe, Naruto said. Mito was trying to make him laugh. Ever since what had happened, he hadn't laughed. Not that she wasn't dealing with her own life problems, but Naruto was a friend of hers. Out of majority of the others in the academy, He was a good friend. He was one of the only ones that did not think that her dream of becoming Hokage was a waste of time. So she really appreciated that about him. And he was always kind. Well, even now to her, because she wasn't annoying like the other girls, who was so obsessed with him. However, it seems like some things just can't be repaired that easily. But she would be here for him though to help him out. Days fly by, weeks fly by, and then months, and then years. As both Naruto and Sasuke kept on growing, they kept on learning. Their learning was severely stunted because of most of the material that they need to learn was inaccessible to them. And that was because of Hiruzen. And the academy wasn't teaching them crap. Absolutely nothing that they didn't already know. His brother had told him about the exercise, as Naruto was able to find out from another source. People were rather easy to help him and Sasuke because they felt sorry for them. Tree walking and water walking. However, the problem was they did not know how to get started. So they went to the library to find out. However, they were restricted on taking books that were out of their section. So they had to distract the person. It was two of them, so that was good. As Naruto stole a book. A chakra controlling book. Both him and Sasuke got back as they started to read it. They were surprised at the numerous exercises that involve our own chakra control. The shuriken, the pebble, the leaf. So much of them. As they start to learn more about this tree walking and water walking. That would come really good in handy as the both of them started to work on that. The tree walking first. It took Naruto longer than Sasuke, as it took Sasuke around a week as they went into this without any understanding, as they knew that no Jonin would teach them this far, saying that they should go to the academy and that would be the place to help them, but the academy wasn't teaching them shit. It took Naruto over 2 weeks because of his rise in chakra pool that he had to learn how to control. However, the water walking, it took Naruto a good month to learn that one, as he realized that his problem was getting worse. His chakra was growing at an abnormal rate. Everyone's chakra was growing, but his was growing much faster. And the reason was simple. When he first awakened his eyes, his coils had been stretched to the max. And every time he used them, his coils kept on getting larger and larger. And his chakra was unable to keep up. Therefore, it started to rapidly grow upon itself in order to be able to fill the gaps. And now, it was messing with his control. Because someone like him wouldn't have taken that long to learn water walking despite how difficult it might seem to be, as Sasuke learned it way faster than him. They were the only two non-genins that were able to master the techniques though, which was pretty impressive, but they did not go around telling anyone about this because they weren't supposed to have that book. Yes, they weren't supposed to have it. When the time finally came, as a 12-year-old Naruto and a 12-year-old Sasuke was finally there to graduate, the test was rather easy. A lot has happened over the past couple of years, as Naruto has focused extensively, day after day, weeks after weeks, months after months, on chakra control. He did every single one of them until he could perform them perfectly, so that he wouldn't have a problem. He also learned a nifty trick. He was able to use his eyes to scan the exact amount of chakra that he would need to circulate through his body. And the next thing he knew, it became instinctive, as he no longer needed to use his eyes. That little trick was no longer needed. However, because he wasn't talking to anyone, Naruto was unaware that what he was doing was abnormal. Controlling your chakra like that becoming instinctive wasn't supposed to happen. That take people years to master. Many more years than what they were saying. However, His chakra control was coming along too great. It had to do with his special eyes, because there was no other recorded history of the yellow Sharingan. Hiruzen had to go back in the data books for the Uchihas, and there was never another recorded history of having yellow Sharingan, or why it affected Naruto chakra so greatly. So this was something new, something that he was going to have to figure out himself. But he wasn't the only one. Sasuke's drive was just as strong, and Naruto, obsessive nature, to get back at Itachi, something that he seemed to live for. It was affecting Sasuke as well, in a bad way. Passing the test was rather easy, as both boys got their head banged. However, Naruto did not head home. Instead, he headed to one of the many forests. Realizing that he wouldn't be able to get his hands on the Uchiha scrolls, Naruto decided to create a technique of his own. He's been working on this for the past few years, but he was nowhere close to being done yet. He needed something special, something that would overpower or outshine every other technique, as he learned something special about himself. Using the standard fireball jutsu, it came out as its normal color. However, when he truly pushed himself and infused it with a lot of chakra, it became yellow. Yes, it became yellow. As Naruto started to realize that the yellow flame was at least 10 times hotter than the normal flame, his chakra seemed to be reacting greatly with his eyes and producing special quality flames, and that brought him an idea as he tried to learn how to conjure these flames without pressuring himself and using his chakra to an extreme amount. However, that was difficult, but he's reached a far way in the past couple of years. But he was still nowhere done yet. He didn't want anyone to know about this. Not even Sasuke knew about what he was doing here. This was just a little side project that he was doing, as Naruto was deep within the forest. Sasuke had headed back home. Here he was, as Naruto had been so focused on his revenge, so focused on just one thing, that he's not taking anything else in his life at account. Not focused on his friendships, focused even on one of his close friends, which was Mito, because she did not pass the graduation test. She failed, but he was unaware of that. At the moment, Aruka winced out in pain as he was hit with several shurikens. Protecting Mito, yes, the young girl, was terrified as Mizuki was trying to kill her. But he wasn't alone. He was protected by another ninja named Toji. Mizuki had made friends with Toji for one purpose. Toji worked with a security detail to protect the Hokage's tower, as Mizuki had offered him power beyond his wildest imagination for the one they were given the scroll to. But Mizuki was just using him, as he had to make plans before he found the girl, as he realized that her failure was going to prove to be beneficial to him, as Toji was still playing a part in this, making sure the other guard was occupied, and Mito brought him the scroll. Toji was there, as he relayed the information on who he saw. Yes, as he saw her running away. However, the one that he chased was a clone who poofed away. They took his word for it. Mito was always pulling pranks and doing stupid things. So yes, now they were here in the forest, and Mito found herself terrified as Aruka was just strike down after trying to protect her. Toji grabbed the scroll, as Mito had dropped it when Aruka pushed her out of the way. "Go now," Mizuki said to him. "I'll handle the rest," he said. Aruka slowly started to get up. "Mito, run," he said. As he shouted at her, she ran away. Mizuki ran past Aruka heading after her. However, Aruka was able to get back to his feet, pulling out the weapons out of his back. Mito crouched behind a tree as the two of them clashed once again. Aruka stood no chance. As Mizuki started to call her a monster, his revelation about her being the Nine-Tailed had shocked her, but Aruka proved him wrong that she wasn't a monster. The courage got her to step out of her hiding spot as she summoned hundreds of clones. The technique that she learned from the scroll, as Mizuki realized that he was screwed. Toji, on the other hand, he was getting away. Unfortunately though for him, Naruto was standing there as he watched. Someone leaped over his head. Naruto was confused, as the person simply jumped over, running as fast as they could. Naruto found himself chasing after the person. Something did not seem right here. Hey! The Chunin jumped down. Shit. Where these brats just come popping up from, he said. What are you doing out here, said Naruto. I should be the one to ask you that. You should get back to the village, kid. Naruto noticed that he was sweating, the panic look on his face, and he noticed a scroll. He narrowed his gaze. What's that? This is none of your business. Head back to the village now. This is a direct order from your superior. An order that I'm not going to follow, said Naruto. I don't know who you are or what you're doing, but I can tell that it's not good. You damn brat. You should have just listened. I can't allow you to be wasting my time. He slammed the scroll on the ground as he pulled a kunai and rushed. He swiped at Naruto as Naruto jumped away. Stand still and I'll make this quick, he said, as he slashed at him once again as Naruto dodged. What the hell? He said with confusion written on his face. Why he couldn't strike this kid down, as he kept on slashing at Naruto. Because of the rather dark night, he didn't seem to fully see who Naruto was. As he lashed out once again, the Chunin was confused. How the hell was a kid going around him this much? As Naruto sped through hand sign in mid-air. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. The Chunin was able to jump out of the way, but his left arm was burnt. In the process, he howled it out in pain. Shock to how a kid knows something like that. Before he could recover, though, his right arm was hit with 3 shurikens. As he was shocked as his blood sprayed, Naruto ran forward and slammed his knee right into his nose, breaking it. He flipped over his head as he slashed his kunai across his back in an X motion. The Chunin still had enough strength to get the hell up as he swung as Naruto jumped over his leg. Naruto then dropped to the ground and rolled and lashed a brutal kick right in his groin. The man howled out in pain as Naruto stuffed his feet right into his face, knocking him back. He still tried to get back up as Naruto twisted mid-air and brought his leg down and crashed it right on his skull, knocking him out. His problem was underestimating Naruto, expecting him to be a normal child, which he was clearly not. Naruto made his way over to the scroll, confused as he opened it up. His eyes widened as Naruto saw the numerous techniques in the scroll. He could tell right here and then that this was important to the village. He turned towards said village as he found himself having to choose whether or not to take this or to give it back. As Naruto looked down, the memory of Itachi flashing through his mind, his Sharingan glowing in the darkness. As he clenched his fists, it seems like he made up his mind. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see the next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.